We have 𝐘𝐨𝐮 joining. 𝐘𝐨𝐮, great to see you with us. 𝐘𝐨𝐮 is one of my past clients. We worked together actually on the pre-order launch. So that's a very good case. So 𝐘𝐨𝐮, if you have comments during the stream, definitely do drop your comments into the chat to share your feedback. All right. Well, so let's get started. First things first, I'm Anna, the founder of Startup Dials, and here with me is Victor Rockwell. We're here to help you guys, early stage consumer tech founders, to avoid one of the most expensive mistakes that you can make when entering the US market, and that's launching without truly understanding your customer. So Victor, welcome.
Thank you so much, Anna. Hey, thank you so much for coming. We've seen startups burn through budgets on product development, which is of course necessary, on ads, on agencies, but they do this before they've confirmed what customers really actually want and need. So we've created this series to help you skip the guesswork and start gathering real insights and fast. Right. I'm excited to kick this off, Anna.
Yeah, 100%. Me too. So you've launched in Europe or any other market. You had traction, but now in the US, your sales are flat. So why? Not because your product is bad, but oftentimes it's because US buyers are different. So we see when working with the early stage startups, we see that too many founders copy what actually worked in other markets, or they copy what competitors are doing, or they lean on agencies that oftentimes have just this cookie cutter approach for, actually launching. So not necessarily that works, and actually oftentimes we see it not work. And what you want to do is you want to validate the demand, messaging, customer behavior in the US, right, in your target market, in order to see the results. Well, at first I wanted to say before scaling, right, then seeing the results. But as a matter of fact, oftentimes nothing is scalable in the beginning. In order to scale, what you want to do is repeat over and over again through the pain to see your first improvements.
Yes, but not only that, you also need to learn through the process you're going through. Don't get yourself into the trap where you repeat mistakes. You actually need to learn from everything that you're doing. You want to minimize the bleed and understand the culture of the US buyer is different. It's not just a larger version of the market that you've been in. It's culturally very different, and consumer behavior is unique. So assumptions like Americans love innovation, they spend freely, are half-truths. You've got to test and iterate and listen to real users. Anna, you can speak from experience working with so many overseas brands trying to break through into the US market.
Yeah, 100%. And too often the founders are way too impatient to see sales. And that leads to inconsistency in their go-to-market strategy and their marketing activities overall, which also often leads to confusion and, simply causes frustration to the teams, unfortunately. So for me, what I like to do is actually start early. And I recommend founders to start with a pre-order campaign because for me, it's a gold mine for insights, because you get to test messaging, you get to validate interest and gather that early feedback. And obviously get the first sales in, right? Because this is, if we're honest, this is what founders are actually looking to get, right? Cash in the bank, because otherwise, whatever we marketers do often feels like a waste of money because learnings are not tangible enough. So in order to learn, You need to understand to advertise, of course. Unfortunately, you still need to spend a little bit, but often it's cheaper than when you're already selling the product, the actual product. But the idea is not just to advertise, but to build a system for experiments. And for that, you use a certain very simple toolkit, but the idea is that within that system, you can always go back to the drawing board, iterate based on results, be it good or bad results, essentially. So when we talk about the toolkit, right, super simple landing page builder, email capture, simple survey, heat map, and of course, creative ad variations. What I like to do, right, with obviously with the rise of AI, now it's our best friend. So one thing you can do, super simple, is just drop a screenshot of your landing page, especially everything that happens on your first scroll. And ask ChatGPT, hey, you are CRO expert, conversion rate optimization expert, review this page to boost conversion. And it'll actually give you very simple suggestions of how to improve, and that can be your first steps. But other than that, right, so this is sort of like what's on the surface, but at the same time, you also want to capture insights. And Victor, how do you capture those?
Right. So Anna, obviously you're building these pages to get people to either they're placing a pre-order. So if they do that, you've got their email, which is great, right? Because then you can create a welcome flow for them, a series of emails that introduce your product to them and get them ready to receive it, start to build trust, start to share what you're doing in the company, giving them news, making them feel like insiders. And then once you get a number of pre-orders, you can start to segment based on type of customer or type of engagement, see on who's clicking, who's driving to the landing pages, who's engaging with your content. And you can ask questions like, what made you sign up initially, or what stopped you from signing up? This starts to tell you information that you can use.
Yeah, I love that. Also, like from my side, one of the suggestions is that just go for one question surveys, be it on site or post purchase, so that it's super low friction and high response. Right, this is the main idea, is that you want to capture as many responses as possible. So as examples, it could be like, hey, was this information helpful? What stopped you from ordering? And then, provide them with some ideas of whether, it's price or some information missing, or oftentimes it's actually the site issues. Yeah.
Yeah, these short surveys are super helpful because you start to see a number of them, you start to see patterns, and you start to uncover what people are thinking. So is it price? Is it that they don't see reviews? They have just general uncertainty. This will help you to zero in and get better messaging. You want to figure out what's blocking conversion so you can fix it.
Yeah. Right. And don't only stop at surveys, right? There are also some of the other tools that you can use. Like, for example, communities. You can create a space, be it a Facebook group, or oftentimes it's Reddit. I see Reddit popping up more and more. The idea is to create a thread or a group where folks that are interested can actually interact with one another and see you being present there. And why I mentioned Reddit is because it gives you like that extra bonus point, because oftentimes we see Reddit getting indexed by AI and search engines, which is obviously beneficial, right? Because this is where you want to be. So the idea is really to be present, let them see that you're there, that you're listening, and especially monitor for any negative feedback, right? You definitely don't want to go that route, and make sure that you answer those negative comments if there are any. But there are ways, right, to take community to the next level, though. Victor, how do you do it?
So normally a customer champions panel is not this far up funnel and just the pre-order. So let's fast forward just a little bit and say you got your first set of customers in already. and they're interacting with your product. Let's give a use case. So we're working with a client who's developing an app and a plugin, a browser plugin to help shoppers find best deals using Gen AI. I won't say more because I'm under NDA, but they engaged us because they wanted to know if they were on the right track with their idea and if consumers were going to appreciate the sort of flows in the user experience that they did designed, as well as their overall value proposition. So they ask us, find out what elements are people really like and which ones they're like, not so much. And what's important to note here is that before they had done all the development, they were very early stage, just really in the concept phase. So before they went and spent all the time to develop everything out, they wanted to know, well, where should we spend our time so we can be most efficient? So what you can do is to talk to people who you don't even have a product. So it's actually up funnel. You can recruit from networks like people or Anna or my networks. And what we did for this client was we did that. We recruited based on the demographics they thought were their target customers. And we ran a couple of focus groups of 12 people total. We did 6 and 6. And we paid $75 per person for an hour and a half of their time. And we showed them videos of using the product. The client had put together some videos so they could show the main concepts. And we talked to the customers. Hey, what do you think? And some things, well, it was super helpful, right? Because they can start to learn what people like and don't like. And this kind of early feedback is super helpful because it saves money, right? They're able to focus on what people say I really like that, but I don't like that.
Right. Yeah, I see this, first of all, the compensation, I see it work really well right away. The response rate, whenever you option a dollar value, the response rate goes up significantly. But other than that, it's oftentimes it's easier said than done. To get together a panel of users because, well, once again, from experience, oftentimes you do need to overcome low engagement and those silent observers, really. So what's your take on getting those first users in?
So, first you should start with of the people on our list who either pre-order or who have purchased, start to look at their engagement. So are they clicking on the emails that you're sending out? Are they interacting with you or calling? Are they on your Facebook page? So you want people who seem like they're engaged with you to the extent possible. And you also want to try to get diverse voices. So whether it's geographically, and some in California, some in Texas, some in New York, whatever it might be. And then when you want to try to put together a customer panel, you want to do personal outreach. Now it's going to take more time, but it's much more effective. So you should craft an email, maybe use AI to help you make sure it's clean and clear and warm, and let them know what you're trying to do, that you want to get feedback from early users so you can improve the product, and you see that they're engaged and are putting comments on your platforms or responding to you. So you would love to sit down with them and a few other people who are likewise engaged and talk through your product and what's working and what's not, so you can improve it. So you're making a personal appeal to them. And this is a lot more effective than just emails. So like I say, use AI to script your emails. Also, don't assume you're going to get through when you make a phone call in the first try. So script out your message that you're going to leave, and don't just make one call, make 3 or 4, and change each one a little bit, right? And be friendly and frank. And that will help you get through to people. And then you'll talk to them and explain what you're trying to do, and then you can work through logistics with them if they say, yeah, I'd love to help you out. Yeah,
I love AI. Saves you a ton of time, right? If you use it right. And we actually did an experiment with you when we ran a customer panel with ChatGPT, but we'll cover that in our next session. So one last tip from me here is really avoid asking your friends and family for feedback, because oftentimes, they'll really tell you what you want to hear, and you want to avoid that and just focus on real, unbiased users, so that you get more value out of it. Well, yeah. So,
This client I was talking about was, he said, I really need to do this to gather customer feedback because I share these things with my mom and my sisters, and they all love it, and I just can't
Yeah.
completely trust it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. But so I see some of the comments here. I see Akshay, well, a good friend of mine, who's also on the journey of launching actually new technology, wireless, on the journey of building a wireless kitchen for us all. So he asked us to repeat ChatGPT prompt, and actually we've prepared something for you. So let me see, you would be able to download a playbook. And within that playbook, you'll actually get all the ChatGPT prompts that we've been mentioning during the event, as well as, well, a lot of other value. So you can scan a QR code that is now here on the screen. Otherwise, you can also DM me or Victor, and we'll send you over the link to that playbook. So yeah, but to wrap up, talk to customers early, build systems for feedback, and learn before you scale.
Right. The key is to listen and learn.
Yeah.
Don't assume you know. Keep asking, keep talking, keep listening, keep iterating.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. Let's see if we have any more questions in our LinkedIn chat. I see only Johan. I see Akshay. So the prompt is in the playbook. So go ahead, scan the QR code, and you'll see it there. Otherwise,
Yeah, so it depends. I'll just mention real quickly. It depends on what you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to script out a message, an email message to customers to talk to them about what you're trying to do with putting a customer panel together. You write the email, you say, hello, customer's name. This is, I'm the founder of this startup. And what we're trying to do is get together a group of customers like yourself who are engaged with our product, who have purchased our product, to try to understand what you really like and maybe what we can improve on. And because the best way for us to really know this is to get together with you and people like you in live conversations to sort of talk this through. So what you should do is script out what you think that message should say.
mm-hmm.
And then the follow-on is on ChatGPT, please look at this message. Here's what we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to put a customer panel together. I want to create an email outreach to introduce the topic in a concise, warm way. And I'd like you to look at this and tell me what you think, how I might improve it. Boom.
Yeah.
And it'll give you ideas, and you want to read through that. And can you please repeat the prompt?
Yeah.
So yeah, you just ask it. You tell it what you're trying to do. So I'm writing an email to early customers to invite them to participate on a customer panel with me. Here's my email, and I want you to tell me how you would suggest I would improve it. So you start with what you're doing, the purpose, and then maybe you could add some information about your product a little bit, but not necessarily. Then you include your email, and then you say, please review this and tell me how you might improve it. And it'll spit back for you something. And another thing to know, if you haven't used ChatGPT a lot, is iterate with it. So it'll give you one spit back, and then you can add information and ask it to reiterate. So you can iterate with it multiple times, and it'll keep giving you little slight changes and different versions. So then you should print those out and look at all of them. And you might take little pieces and parts and say, this is the email I want, that just, it feels right for me, for my brand, for my customers. And then you roll with that. That's one, right? That's the initial email. And then you could do, I need a phone message. I'm going to call my customers and leave a message about wanting to follow up on my email about joining my customer panel. But I assume they're not going to pick up the phone. So I need a voice message. here's what I think the voice message should say. And then you write it. Hi, this is so-and-so of this company. I'm following up on my email to you about a customer panel and I'm wanting to invite you in. I'd love to spend a few minutes with you on the phone to talk you through some of the details and find out about your schedule and you know, when you're available. Please call me at this number. I'm available from here to here. And then pop that, and just do the same thing. Say, tell me, this is my email, my draft email. Tell me how you think I might improve this for conciseness, for clarity, for warmth. Put it in, see what it spits out. And again, if you're not satisfied with it, iterate with it. Make it, you know, do multiple versions for you, and until you feel good. So you want to have your own set of communications across channels, right? Email, phone, and then live conversation. And the next would be the actual script when you get them on the phone. So what do you want to accomplish? What are your goals? So introduce yourself, introduce your purpose about the panel, introduce why you're reaching out to them. And then say, here's what I think I should say to them in the conversation. I need a conversation guide when I get them on the phone. What things do I need to do? You don't want to take too much time, but you want to be warm and not too fast either. So you can script that out, put that into ChatGPT and say, tell me how I might improve this. Again, you iterate with it and you'll get a really good script. And then use that when you call, and it'll help you be very clear and make sure you're checking off all the boxes and getting that information. Obviously, you want to be warm, friendly, nice. And if you need to pivot, if your customer you know, takes you somewhere where you didn't expect, you go with it, obviously.
Yeah, 100%. I also like to start all of my prompts providing with the role of what I want ChatGPT to play for me, right? And in this case, you can be a founder, or you can be a customer experience expert, or whatnot, right? But so that it understands which hat it kind of needs to put on, right, in order to provide with the with a better response.
Absolutely.
But hey, it's good to see that everything, as we were discussing with you, Victor, right? Everything AI related nowadays sparks an extra curiosity. But
yeah, and we're looking forward to talking to you about using ChatGPT or similar for running customer panels and gathering customer information. It works in some situations, not so great in others, and we'll talk about that in the coming session.
Right. So yeah, for now, like, subscribe, share, talk about us in your circles, and join us for the next event. We're going to go deeper into what to do if people aren't engaging with your surveys or feedback requests. This is definitely one of the things that many early stage founders need to overcome. And we'll make sure to include some of the prompts there for GPT